How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Sector 6, and today we're going to be talking a little bit more about Final Fantasy XVI. Now, I know, I said I was pretty much done with it, but there's a few more quick videos that I feel like we can do, where we're going to talk about some of the unanswered questions in Final Fantasy XVI, because if you think about it, there's quite a few of them. Also, before we get going, huge spoilers for Final Fantasy XVI in this video, so if you've not played the game, please, you know, be careful. Many spoilers, many spoilers. Just bookmark it, come back and watch it when you're finished. Don't forget, drop a like on the video, subscribe for future content, but let's jump into the first of these Final Fantasy XVI unanswered questions, and those of you that are reasonably observant may have noticed that this one is going to be talking about our friend Cid. Now, Cid is obviously one of the coolest characters in Final Fantasy XVI, but he's also one of the more mysterious ones if we're being honest. He arrived on Valistea just kind of randomly out of nowhere, and not long after he arrived on Valistea, he awoke the power of the icon Ramuh and became the dominant of Ramuh. And it's at some time around here that he meets up with Benedicta. He rescues Benedicta from slavery, and then the two of them kind of travel around for a little bit, eventually meeting Barnabas and being recruited to the Waloed army. And because of Cid's obvious power being the dominant of Ramuh, he rose through the ranks quite quickly and ended up becoming the Lord Commander, with Benedicta at the same time becoming the head of covert operations. So between the two of them, they both rose to an extremely prominent position within the army of Waloed. But then, after a little while, Cid deserts the Waloed army, ends up going out for himself and setting up the hideaway and rescuing bearers and everything like that, and quickly becomes the Cid that we all know and love, and the Cid that we interact with in Final Fantasy XVI, up until a certain point. And as we all know, that point is when we reach the Mother Crystal in Sanbreque. And then we all know what happens. Cid, in an effort to destroy the Sanbreque Mother Crystal, turns himself into Ramuh, attacks the crystal, destroys it, and then we see the scenes with Typhon pan out, and then after all of that, Cid's lay on the ground, on the brink of death, having his final moments, and then Ultima appears. And it's this that leads to our first unanswered question, because I'm pretty confident that this doesn't get an answer at any point in the game. So they're talking about getting Cid to a doctor, you know, Clive's being all hopeful, oh, I'm going to save you, Cid, I promise, honest, let's go. Now Cid knows that this isn't going to happen, and while he's talking you kind of hear a portal sound in the background. Ultima appears behind Clive and kind of reaches out to try and take Mythos as his vessel. That's kind of what he's trying to do at this point. He hasn't realised that Clive isn't complete, that he needs Clive to go and absorb the powers of all of the other dominants and the other icons in order to be complete and strong enough to do what he needs him to do. But then Cid kind of speaks out and says, I know who you are, and if you think I'm gonna let you have him, ooh, you're having a, ooh, yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much what he says. And I'm a little bit intrigued as to how Cid knows who Ultima is, because it doesn't seem like it's very common knowledge. In fact, it doesn't seem like it's knowledge at all. Harpocrates has to go deep diving for information, as far as I can remember, in order for us to have any kind of idea of what Ultima could be. And in all honesty, we don't know anything until we get to that scene in the interdimensional rift where Ultima kind of explains his plan completely to us. It's only at that moment that we get any idea what the real deal is with Ultima. So how does Cid know? Now, there's only really one explanation that I can think of for this, and it's to do with his connection to Barnabas and Benedicta back in Ash, and it's to do with his time when he was the Lord Commander of the Waloed army. The reason why he left is to do with the fact that Benedicta and Barnabas started to seem to become much darker in the things that they were doing and much more insidious with the things that they were doing. There wasn't really a noble campaign anymore. There was weird stuff going on, and Cid could kind of feel that. Cid was perceiving it, and Cid kind of got the feeling that he wasn't a part of something good at this point and bounced. He wasn't happy with the way bearers and everybody like that were treated anyway. That's kind of what we get in-game. That's kind of the idea that we get in-game, that he just kind of became done with the way things were going over on Ash, and he bailed. But did he find out more information than we're led to believe? Did he find out about Ultima at the very least from Barnabas? Did Barnabas kind of slip up or something like that? did Benedicta find out about it and kind of talk to Cid about it? And Cid was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm not really, ooh, no, I don't like this." Because from everything that we know about Cid in the game, he doesn't come across as the type of person that'd get on board with Barnabas's plan. In fact, in fairness, it doesn't seem like anyone really gets on board with Barnabas's plan except for Benedicta. She seems to be the only one that's on board, and I'd question how much information she actually has. I feel like she was just kind of being controlled a little bit, which is amusing given the fact that she is the intelligence operative for Waloed, you know, she's the head of that. It seems like she was being fed a complete lime by Barnabas. And it seems like Cid found something out, maybe tried to convince Benedicta that, yo, there's some bad stuff going on here. Ultima, ooh. And she wasn't buying into it, and that's why Cid left on his own. That's the only thing that I can think of, to be honest with you. I mean, maybe when he tried to attack the Sanbreque crystal previously, something happened. But I doubt that, because I'm pretty sure it's laid out for us that Dion, Bahamut, just absolutely destroyed him and chased him out of there. Pretty sure that's how his first attempt went on Sanbreque. Maybe he'd visited some other crystals at some point. Maybe he'd been to one of the locations of the dead mother crystals and maybe picked something out there, because we do have 2 crystals that we know are dead. One in the south of Ash and one in the northern reaches where Jill's from. Maybe he went to one of them. Other than that, maybe he's been into some of the ruins, you know, like in the same way that we go looking at the ruins in Rosaria, you know, under Phoenix Gate, the Apothecary. We go down into there and we see the mural and things like that. Maybe Cid had picked up some information by visiting locations such as them. But I do feel that the most likely route is that he learned something when he was working with Barnabas. And that was the thing that triggered him to leave Waloed and strike out on his own and do his own thing. And maybe this kind of finalised his plan to destroy the Mother Crystals. The only other possibility is that in this moment when Cid did discover Ultima, maybe Ultima used this as an opportunity to manipulate Cid and convince Cid that destroying the Mother Crystals was a good idea. Obviously, if not Ultima going up to him and going, "Hey Cid, how's it going, mate? Do you want to destroy some Mother Crystals?" But, you know, kind of planted the thought in his mind a little bit. That's the only other possibility that I can think of. Because, yeah, he just leaves Waloed and then eventually reaches this point of, yeah, we should probably destroy all these Mother Crystals, you know. But there's good reason for that, you know, with the plight of the bearers and everything. So, yeah, I don't think Ultima particularly influenced Cid. I think it was more a case of he found something out that he just couldn't reconcile with and left. I think that's the best option. But this is the part where you let me know what you think on the subject. Is there anything that I've missed in Final Fantasy XVI that tells us exactly how he knew what Ultima was or who Ultima was? Did he know who Ultima was? Do you know what I mean? Does he actually have a clue, or does he just know that there is a being called Ultima? And that's it. Do you have any unanswered questions regarding Final Fantasy XVI? Let me know what you're thinking in the comments down below. Don't forget, like the video, subscribe for future content. We've got a few more of these unanswered questions videos coming in the future. So yeah, keep an eye out. And then yeah, we'll be back to Rebirth eventually. But more importantly than any of that, have a great day.